The central difficulty in handling a scam call is not identifying the fraud. It's ending the conversation immediately without falling into the scammer's emotional trap. Now, let's really dive into that, because that single idea is the key to protecting yourself in a way you might have never, ever considered.
And what's so important about this is the distinction it makes. See, most of us feel pretty confident we can spot a scam. We think, oh, I'm way too smart to fall for that. But the real danger isn't some battle of wits, it's a battle of wills. Scammers aren't trying to outsmart you, they're trying to outlast you. These are professionals, and they are trained to keep you on the line, to weave this web of emotion, urgency, fear, sometimes even guilt, that just systematically breaks down your defenses, no matter how sharp you are.
So what if there was a way to just sidestep that whole battle completely? A tool that's so simple, so effective, it could diffuse any of those high-pressure situations in less time than it takes to even feel flustered. We're talking about a way to not just protect your finances, but to protect your peace of mind. A way to reclaim control the instant your phone rings with an unknown number. And that's exactly what we're going to uncover right here.
So here's our game plan. First, we're going to explore the real trap that scammers set. Then we'll get into why just hanging up can feel so incredibly difficult. After that, we'll reveal the one powerful phrase that changes everything. We'll cover how to put that script to work so it becomes second nature. Then we'll reframe this as a vile act of self-defense. And finally, we are going to solidify your plan for some lasting peace and security.
All right, let's get started with section 1, the real scam call trap. This is where we pull back the curtain and really look at the invisible forces that are at play. This isn't about technology. This is all about psychology. So, if it is a psychological trap, what makes it so hard to just get out of it? Well, that brings us right to section 2, why hanging up is hard. The truth is, scammers don't exploit flaws in our phones. They exploit features of our own humanity. I mean, for decades, most of us have been taught to be polite, to listen, to give people the benefit of the doubt. And these are wonderful social traits, but in this specific context, they become vulnerabilities that these criminals are absolute experts at weaponizing. Let's break down exactly how they do it. There are really 4 core tactics. First, they exploit our politeness. We just don't want to be rude, right? So we listen for just a moment too long. Second, they abuse our natural authority bias. When someone calls and says they're from the IRS or your bank or law enforcement, there's a part of our brain that instinctively wants to comply, even if another part is screaming that something's wrong. Third, they create this intense fake urgency. You know the lines, "This offer expires in 5 minutes," or "Your account will be closed immediately." It's all designed to flood your system with adrenaline and stop you from thinking clearly. And finally, their most potent weapon. They trigger fear. Fear of losing your money, fear of being arrested, fear of something terrible happening to someone you love. And look at this direct conflict right here. The scammer's goal is your compliance, but your instinct is politeness. They manufacture urgency, which plays directly on your instinct to trust. They generate fear, which can trigger this unwarranted feeling of guilt, making you think, wait, what did I do wrong? Every single one of these pairings is a psychological mismatch where the scammer has the upper hand because, well, they created the scenario, they wrote the script, and now they're trying to force you to play a part in their play.
So here's the crucial thing to remember. Time is their greatest weapon. Every single extra second you spend on that phone is a win for them. It's another moment for their psychological games to sink in, another chance to wear you down. This isn't a debate you can win with logic. The only winning move is not to play. That is why ending the call immediately and decisively isn't just a good idea, it is the only effective defense. Which brings us to the solution in section 3, the one phrase that works. We are going to completely shift the dynamic here. We're taking this from a compliance issue where they hold all the power, and we're turning it into a non-negotiable policy where you are firmly and completely in control. This is it. This is the phrase. I do not respond to unscheduled calls. Goodbye. Just let that sink in for a second. Notice what it isn't. It's not an apology. It's not an excuse. It's not an argument. It is a calm, simple, and totally unshakable statement of fact. It's a boundary, and you're stating it clearly and without any emotion. Let's actually give this a name, the refusal script. Think of it like a preloaded response that you install in your own mind. It's like a psychological fire break. When a scammer tries to start a fire with urgency and fear, this script is your tool to instantly contain it and cut off its fuel supply. And that fuel supply is your attention. So why is this specific script so unbelievably effective? Well, let's break it down. First, it sets a clear, non-negotiable policy. The phrase "I do not" is so powerful. It's not about them or their crazy request. It's about your personal rule. This leaves zero room for debate. Second, it shifts control immediately back to you. You're no longer reacting to their demands, you are enforcing your own protocol. Third, it signals you are a high awareness target. This kind of language is not what they expect from an easy mark. And finally, and maybe most importantly, it makes you an unprofitable use of their time. Scammers are running a business. They need quick wins. This script tells them in their own language, the language of efficiency, that they are going to get zero return on their investment from you, and they should just move on.
Now, knowing the script is one thing, but using it effectively when you're under pressure is something else entirely. So let's move to section 4, putting the script to work. Our goal here is to transform this phrase from just a good idea into an automatic, calm reflex.
There are 3 simple, actionable steps. Step 1 is to internalize the mindset. You have to give yourself permission to use this. You're not in a normal social conversation. You are defending yourself from an attack. Your refusal is not rudeness, it's your shield. Step 2 is to practice the script. Seriously, say it out loud right now. I do not respond to unscheduled calls. Goodbye. Say it to yourself in the mirror. The goal is to strip the words of any hesitation, to make them feel, well, boringly automatic. And step 3 is maybe the most critical. Commit to the immediate hang-up. You say the words, and your finger immediately ends the call. Don't pause. Don't wait for a reply. Their reaction is completely irrelevant. The conversation is over.
So when do you use it? Here's your signal. The moment you feel that manufactured sense of urgency, that knot in your stomach, that rush of panic, that is your trigger. That feeling is the scammer's #1 tool. You need to treat it as a clear, unmistakable alarm bell telling you it's time to deploy your script.
This leads us perfectly into section 5, an act of self-defense. Because using this script isn't just a technical move, it's really about reclaiming your emotional sovereignty, your right to feel safe and in control in your own life. Please let this message really sink in. For so many of us, the hardest part is overcoming a lifetime of conditioning to just be polite. But this is not a polite situation. You wouldn't worry about being polite to a burglar in your home, would you? Treat a scam call with the exact same seriousness. This is a proactive act of empowered self-defense. You are protecting your home, your savings, and your well-being. It is not rude, it is wise. And just think of the long-term benefit here. When you have this tool ready to go, the anxiety of an unknown call just starts to fade. You no longer have to dread who might be on the other end, because you already know exactly how the conversation is going to end on your terms. This prepared statement is your single most powerful asset for reclaiming your peace of mind and preserving your mental energy for the people and things you truly love. And that brings us to our final section, your plan for peace. This is where we distill everything we've just learned into one clear final takeaway that you can put into practice today. Ultimately, it all comes down to this one idea. The one phrase enforces a non-negotiable policy that makes you an unprofitable target. You're taking control by making yourself a bad investment for criminals. It is that simple, and it is that powerful. Which leads me to a final question I want you to ask yourself. Knowing what you know now, what is the one critical action you can take right this second to make this defense a reality in your life? Here is that action. Take a moment right after this, find a pen and a small piece of paper. A Post-it note is perfect for this. And just write down these words. I do not respond to unscheduled calls. Goodbye. Then place that note right next to your phone. Let it be a physical reminder, a tangible piece of your new defense plan, just waiting there to serve you when you need it most. As we wrap up, let's just remember what's really happening here. The danger you face from these calls has very little to do with some sophisticated technology, and it has everything to do with sophisticated psychological manipulation. The scammer's greatest tool isn't a computer, it's a carefully crafted script designed to exploit our very human instincts for politeness, for trust, and for compassion. But the most helpful insight we've uncovered today is that a simple, non-negotiable tool can defeat a really complex psychological attack. The refusal script, that one clear sentence, is so powerful because it doesn't engage with the manipulation at all. It simply announces a personal policy and it terminates their compliance game instantly, making you an unprofitable target. It is your off-ramp from their high-pressure highway.
And that, truly, is a reassuring thought. With just this simple piece of preparation, you are empowered to reclaim your peace. You can secure your savings and your emotional well-being against any unexpected call. You now have a plan. And with that plan comes a quiet, calm confidence to face the future secure in your own defense.